In this video, I want to go over some letters that have different pronunciation in Spanish than in English, and the particularities of those letters and how we can produce sounds in Spanish based on our needs. So I've listed on the screen some of the letters that we're going to review, and though there are 27 letters in the Spanish language, I'm going to limit myself to these here so that we can, because these are the ones that change from English to Spanish. The first letter is the letter C. The letter C can produce the sound ka, ko, and ku, as you would expect it to. But when the letter C is next to the letter E or the letter I, it becomes a sound. So that is why we say the name Cecilia, because it defaults into that sound. Now, what if you want to produce the sound que and ki? That's where our Q comes in. And the Q is what's going to help us produce that que and ki sound. The letter F has the same pronunciation as it does in English, but I wanted to highlight it here because in English, we're used to seeing the letters PH as those that have the pronunciation of F. In Spanish, anytime that you have that PH in English, it will translate into an F in Spanish, which is why the word photo in English is spelled as photo with an F. Or if we were to say philosophy, it would be spelled with F's in Spanish, filosofía. That's to keep you aware. Perhaps the letter that provokes the most difficulty is the G. So I'm going to walk you through how to produce different sounds with the G. Now in English we have a G sound, and we can produce the G sound next to all of our vowels, but we need combinations of these vowels to produce those sounds. So on your screen, you can see how you're going to produce that strong G sound next to each of those vowels. And in this way, we can say ga, ge, gi, go, gu. Notice that the E sound and the I sound next to the G require a U in between. That U is only there as a placeholder to kind of give it strength and to tell us to pronounce it as a G sound. So the logical question might be, well, what happens when you just have GE or GI? When you have that combination, these are going to be pronounced as he or he, which is the H sound that we have in English. So that's why we say the word gente, as in people, or gigante, as in giant. The next letter I want to discuss is the letter H. The letter H has no sound whatsoever, only when it is next to a C. Does it produce help only? Its only presence is to help the C produce the ch sound. By itself, it does not have a sound. So, when trying to greet someone, you would say, hola. See, imagine it is not even there. Hola. The next sound is the J. The J in English has a J sound, but we don't have a J sound in Spanish. So the J has a function of actually producing an H sound. So the name Javier is spelled with the J, and that helps us produce the H sound. I've included the L and the double L because the L produces the same sound as English does, but the double L will produce a Y sound. So I would pronounce the word in front of you as llave, which means key. Spanish is also particular in that it has an ñ sound. Now in English, we do produce this sound, but we do it in combination. So for example, in English, if I have the word Kenyan, we produce that sound. So in Spanish, we would express it as cañón. But we're still producing that ñ sound, but in Spanish we have a letter designated to produce that sound. In a previous video, I have expressed the R and the double R sound, and I help you work through those sounds there. I wanted to call your attention to the V because in Spanish, this sound is actually produced as B. Our instinct, because of our influence from English, is to want to pronounce a word like Victoria as Victoria in Spanish. But in reality, we don't have a V sound in Spanish. So it defaults into Victoria. And finally, the Z sound, we do not have a Z sound in Spanish. We only have a S sound. So we would have to use it as a S sound. So if I wanted to pronounce the name of the country, I would say Zimbabwe. I would not use Z. It would be Zimbabwe. I hope this helps as you're trying to work through some of these pronunciation in this beginning phase of Spanish. Be patient with yourself. It can be a little bit daunting, but the more practice you have to the listening, to the reading, and to the speaking, the easier this will become.